Hello friends, your favorite purple haired notary here, and today's video I just kind of want to talk about share some stories of your most stressful notarizations. So I haven't had too many stressful, high intense situations. I've seen some notaries that have some crazy stories. I don't think mine's are as crazy, as intense, but anyway, here are some of my stories. So I have this one is more recent. This happened this summer and I got called to do a to do a closing. This was buyer and seller. I made sure to ask for an increase and they had to change locations. Everyone was supposed to be in the same location, and because the documents weren't ready, at that point everyone's like, well, we're home now, so we're gonna have to do it in two different locations. It was during traffic, tolls were involved, so I made sure to ask for that increase. All right, that's my side notes. Make sure to ask for the increase when situations like that arise. Okay, so now I do the closing, not a problem, get it done. I meet the buyers at a Starbucks that was close to their home. Then I met the signers that lived, the sellers. So I also met the sellers, and they lived 10 minutes away from that Starbucks. Went there. They were stressed out. I wasn't. I'm like, this is the name of the game, right? Like, I know what's up. I've been doing this for a while and documents aren't always ready. I still don't know why. If you're a lender that happens to be watching this, please let me know. Any lender that I ask, they'll just say hey, that's those other lenders are lazy and yada yada yada. I really couldn't tell you on why the loan documents will take all day, when most of the time you had 45 days to get this done, and it's a day of closing and they're still not done. Anyway, I digress. I'm at the seller's house and I realized, I guess because it was late, I don't know, I realized that there was an affidavit that was in there for the buyers. And that affidavit is usually for the sellers, the way that it looked. So I'm like, oh, this is the seller's affidavit. And I was going through it with the sellers, going over their documents. I looked at the affidavit, and so there was one for the seller and the buyer. And I was like, oh, man. This is crazy. So I called the buyers, let them know I missed the document, I can come by. They just wanted to meet me at the same Starbucks. Okay, cool, no problem. So as I'm getting there, just text me when you leave. No problem. That wasn't the issue. That's not where it gets stressful. Where it got stressful was I had this iPhone for maybe 30 days. This is the iPhone 16. I had an iPhone 12 for a really long time. And I decided to upgrade, basically treat yourself. My iPhone 12, the cameras were broken and I started filming content, whatever. So I upgrade the phone. The phone goes dark. You can't see anything on this phone. I'm getting the messages. My phone is still vibrating. It was still, well, I don't keep my phone on ring, but if you called me, it would ring, but I can't swipe. I can't do anything. I can't pick up a call. I can't send a text, nothing. The sellers are calling me and I couldn't communicate. And the only numbers that I know are my mom. My mom can't help me in this situation. I was freaking out. The sellers had the buyer's information, so they let them know what was going on. And I'm trying not to cry because I'm also in a whole different county. It's pitch black outside because it's 9 p.m. at this point, and I don't know how to get home without GPS. So I'm freaking out. The seller drove me to basically have me follow him to the Starbucks, and me and the buyers signed that piece of paper that I missed. Not the issue, and I'm freaking out. I was still able to send a voice note, so I sent the voice note to a friend and let them know what happened, and he called my phone 4 times, and finally my phone lit up because I'm there trying not to cry with the buyer and the seller there, because that's all they want to do is cry, because I'm how am I gonna get home? I don't know how to get home. they printed out old school, printed out like directions for me, and I'm like, what if I miss a turn? Like in Jersey, you miss a turn and then you're screwed. And I was just like freaking out over things, but thank goodness, shout out to my friend who called me and got my phone working again, and it lit up. And so that's what was the stressful part. I'm like, yo, I can't get home. So now I watched a video why I don't use like VIOP lines, and another reason why now I have an extra phone and I always have my tablet on me, because I was like, oh, like I should have brought my iPad. I don't bring my iPad with me, and I was like, I should, because that has its own service and that could have brought me home. And now I also have an additional phone in the event something like that happens. That was most recently, and that was the most stressful that I've been. Another time that I was stressed out, this is when I was new. So this is during 2020. Like, we still got masks on and everything. Now it's the winter time. Into the winter time, and there was anticipated snowstorm, but my closing was before the snowstorm was supposed to start, which is why I took the closing. The CD was wrong, and the buyer was like, I'm not doing this. No. He calls the lender, like cursing them out. I'm like, I'm just a notary. Like, I had nothing to do with doing any of your documents. Not at all. And usually it's just an oversight, but my man's was freaking out. I'm not doing this. And we already spent, and this is, that signing is why I take the CD out, the settlement statement, the note, and the mortgage. Those 4 documents I pulled to the top. Back then I wasn't doing it. I just left the package as is. And so the CD was in the middle of the package. So we already spent about 30 minutes signing everything else, where he was just like, I'm ready to just kill this deal right now. So now I no longer do that. That instance made me always pull it to the top. Even if I have to like put it back, I leave them at the top now. But I would then label where it was and then like put it back. But yeah, he was ready to kill the deal. So he sat there like cursing out like his mortgage lender for 30 minutes, and they finally sent him an updated one. Thank goodness he had a printer. Most people don't, but thank goodness he had a printer. He printed out the new CD. But that additional time that he took to curse out his lender had me there longer. So the snowstorm started. It was light work, but by the time I get to the FedEx, it was coming down. It was coming down. I needed new tires that year. So I was like slipping and sliding on the snow. It was insane. It took me like 2 or 3 hours to get home, because the snow just was coming down like crazy. Like, there were cars like getting stuck. So I drive an SUV. There were like smaller cars, like Hondas, like 2-door Hondas. You know, they can be pretty low to the ground, that they were just stuck in the snow. They couldn't move anywhere. People were slipping and sliding across the highway. It was insane. It was so crazy. But yeah, that was really stressful, just because, again, it was a snowstorm. I thought I was going to be in and out, but that was a learning lesson for me. Those numbers need to match. That's when I learned that some people will just call the lender will be like, I'll send you, just sign the last page, I'll send you an updated one. But some people don't trust their lenders that much. And I also think that if you're not going to trust who you're working with like that, you shouldn't be working with that person. Because most of the time when that happens now, like, that's the only time that I've had somebody was just like, I'm not doing this, cancel the whole deal. Most of the time now, we just call the lender and they'll say, hey, I'll send you an updated version, sign that one, and I'll send you an updated version, but we'll use the signature page. Just make sure to sign that one and like call it a day. But he wasn't having it. He wasn't having it at all, and it delayed everything, and your girl had to be outside in a snowstorm. So yeah, that was really stressful. And yeah, those are like my most, I guess, like my most like stressful notarizations. Are they both closings? They're both real estate closings. Yeah, that's basically it. I think those are my most stressful. Another this one is not, it wasn't stressful, it was just awkward, which also is the reason why I'm like, yo, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Because what was it, basically, this lady, she had a boyfriend, so he wasn't, the boyfriends who are never on the deal always got something to say. And anyway, I had this lady, a seller who was selling a house, but everything was gone already. They did it in the house that they sold, or that they were selling, and they were signing their documents. There was no electricity. There was nothing to sit on. Like, they were just like buckets. You know, yeah, they were just buckets. And I'm like, no, I'm good. We need something to sign on. So essentially, I was on my knees on the carpet. If I can find the picture, I'll add the picture somewhere here. But that was also, that wasn't stressful. It was just awkward. So that also made me realize I need to have a table. So I bought a table. I don't use it too often. It's in the back of my car. And you know, yeah, it's in the back of my car, so I keep that on occasion. I bought a table for that instance because, like I said, we signed on buckets, and I use my phone as a light. It was just the most odd situation. Like, I don't even know like why that happened, and I'm like, yo, I couldn't think of anything else. I probably should have just said like, let's go to a different location. Let's go to, I don't even know what would have been open at that time, to be honest. But whatever. I had the light on. Did the scans in my car. That was pretty awkward. Like, when you're a mobile notary, especially like when you're doing closings, you have to be ready for anything. Like, get your clipboards. I have a table on deck. Things like that. Just make sure you're prepared for anything when you're doing real estate closings. I've had to do signings on like the front porch. I've been in hoarder houses. Those tend to be awkward just because it tends to be dusty, things like that in like hoarderish houses, and that's unfortunate to have to sit in that. But whatever, do what you gotta do to get it done. Yeah, so I haven't had like stressful situations, but I've had awkward situations. So yeah, if you're a notary out there, if you're new to being a notary, be prepared for anything. Have a game plan. But yeah, if you are a veteran notary, what is your most awkward situation? What is your most stressful notary story? Let me know in the comments. I appreciate sharing. Like, comment, share with your other notary friends. You know what's up. Bye.